Do you end runs feeling totally beat up? Or maybe you've been running for years and feel like you run fine, but you just can't seem to get any faster. Or maybe you even run really well, but deep down you feel like you've got more potential. Well, a lot of runners don't live up to what they're capable of because they're not running with the right technique. Of course, training correctly makes a bigger difference than running technique, but your run technique can set a ceiling that will limit how far you progress by making you inefficient and likely to get injured. If runners have never worked on their run technique, there are 5 areas where most people go wrong. We're gonna fix them for you here today. What's up, motivators? My name is Taren. When ordinary people want to accomplish something extraordinary in endurance sports, they choose our totally free Motive training plans. You're ready to take on that next big challenge? Let's do it. With these 5 areas of run technique, we're going to start from the feet and work our way up through the body. The first issue that people have is landing out front of their center of mass. Now I'm gonna blow your mind a little bit because heel striking inherently isn't actually the problem here. You may have heard that heel striking is the root of all running evils, and it's simply not true, and we're going to explain that in a second. But landing out front of your body essentially puts on the brakes. It takes all that momentum and work that you're putting into pushing yourself forward, and it actually just slows us down. So we have to use a lot of that energy that we're using to push ourselves forward to just get over the brakes that we're putting on out front of our body. Now, whether you land on your heel, your midfoot, or your forefoot, it literally does not matter. Despite what a lot of people out there online will have you believe, there is no correct or incorrect way to land on your feet. Whatever is most natural to you is what you should do, and don't fight it. But we should all land directly under our body. And how we achieve this is with a running drill that you should do every 3 minutes of each of your runs for about 3 to 4 weeks until it feels natural. What you'll do is stop during the middle of a run, bounce up and down in place where you will be landing right underneath your center of mass. Then start doing some butt kicks to get closer to a running stride, then lean forward from the heels where you will be running and landing underneath your center of mass. As you do this more and more, it's going to feel more and more natural, and you're going to know the exact area that you need to land. Moving up the body, the next issue is one of the biggest issues that causes problems in the run technique, but fortunately it's also one of the most impactful improvements that you can make in your running. And the problem is a slow cadence. Now, a lot of people think that there is an ideal cadence of roughly 175 to 185, where your feet are contacting the ground 180 times every single minute. Now, there isn't this magic number of 180, but generally a higher cadence is better than a lower cadence. Studies have shown that you can take both elite runners and amateur runners and increase their run cadence over the course of 3 to 4 weeks, and all of a sudden they start using less energy and feeling a little bit more smooth even at the same speeds. So generally, increasing our run technique slightly is helpful, but there is definitely a no-go zone with what run cadence you should be running at. If you're at 165 strides per minute or lower, it's too slow. You need to increase your run cadence. Now, you can't just go out and say, hey, I'm gonna increase my run cadence, because what most people do is they just run faster while they're using basically the same cadence. Instead, the way that you fix run cadence is by going onto a treadmill, setting the speed of that treadmill at a very comfortable pace, then keeping the speed at that same comfortable pace, but then trying to increase your run cadence. What this is going to do is it's going to keep the speed steady and constant, so you're not just speeding up, you're literally only changing your run cadence. The challenge is then, how do you bring that improved, faster run cadence into your normal running when you're not on a treadmill? Well, ideally, you can do this on a treadmill in your house or at a gym that has a running track around. Go from the treadmill to running outside without the treadmill, or the treadmill onto the track, back and forth, slowly bringing that new run cadence into regular running. The third thing is not a specific thing, but it's a general mindset that people are trying to run and do things with their feet. They think that they should either point their toes, or they should stride extra far, or they should really work on kicking their butt. What tends to happen in this case is people are forcing themselves into a specific biomechanical range of motion that isn't natural for their body. If you hear back to the 90s and 2000s, there was this notion of a very perfect run stride. And when college level runners would get into college, a well-meaning college level run coach would try to mold every single runner into this ideal form of a run stride. And what would happen more often than not is runners would just break down and they wouldn't get any faster because they were trying to go into something that didn't feel normal for them. So the fix on this is just to run however you feel like you should run. There are lots of people that run with knock knees, or a slight crossover, or a slight kick out, or a little bit of a flailing ankle when they kick in behind. Whatever is natural to you is how you should run. And the bonus here is that if you are running with a bit of a faster cadence from point number 2, you're not going to have the time to really stretch out and mold yourself into an unnatural biomechanical range of motion. But generally, the fix for this is just to stop thinking about running and looking a certain way, just run. The fourth issue is one of the biggest issues that I find happen to people who work at a desk or drive a lot throughout the day, and that is folding at the waist. Now, because in day-to-day life we tend to sit a lot at a 90-degree angle where our hips are a little bit shortened, it tends to be a very natural thing for us to fold a little bit at the hips and slouch a little bit forward. Now, this isn't a video where we talk about how strength training can help fix that. We do a lot of work in our run training plans where we do strength and mobility work to open that chest and the hips back up so that you can run really well. But that is a really, really long fix. There is a fairly quick fix to this that you can bring into your run technique. Now, remember when I gave you the drill about landing out front of your body and I said to lean forward from the ankles? That is a thing that we should focus on, and it does help with folding at the waist. The key to it is that we should fold forward from the ankles and look out towards the horizon, not look down at the ground in front of us. Because we can still lean forward at the ankles while bending at the waist, but if we lean forward from the ankles and look out towards the horizon, we're gonna lean forward all in one piece like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Our entire body will be like a board where we lean forward and bring our momentum forward so that running is essentially just controlled falling, where we're using the momentum of our body leaning forward instead of having to push ourselves past a very scrunched over upper body. The final issue with run technique, where people try to do things with their feet, but they also try to do things with their arm. We think that we're running, so we need to move in a certain way that looks like running, but studies have shown that when we push our body into a specific range of motion, and particularly when we do that with our arms while we're running, we use up a lot more energy than we actually need to. I'm going to talk to you one-on-one about how to fix this. Generally, how you fix this is just by having your arms at a very comfortable, natural position by your side. Wherever natural is to you that feels relaxed, that's where you should run. And just run like that. So when you're doing that drill of stopping every 3 minutes and starting to run, get your arms into a position that just feels loose. What that's gonna mean is that you aren't going to do this. You also aren't going to put your arms down straight. You're just gonna have your arms kind of nice and naturally held. Run like that. Now, this might sound like a lot that you have to focus on, but what I've found is that over the course of about 3 weeks and 3 runs per week, where you're stopping every 3 minutes throughout those runs to work on that drill, you can really quickly improve your run technique. Pair that with the odd session on a treadmill where you're going back and forth from a treadmill to running on the actual road. And within 3 weeks, you can completely change your run technique with very short runs of about 20 to 30 minutes. You're gonna be much more efficient using all of your energy to simply push yourself forward and not to overcoming your inefficient run technique. As I said though, the most important thing to progressing in your running is having a well-structured run training plan, and you can get one for free that is personalized to you at mymotive.com. Finally, if you heard what I said about faster run cadence and you don't believe that you can run faster at the same effort level, click the video that's on the screen right now. It's one of our most popular videos of all time that discusses how you can run 3 to 8% faster by simply adjusting your run cadence. Later, motivators.